My friend, have you ever stopped to wonder why some people defy time itself? Why the years seem to pass over them like a soft breeze, leaving no trace of their weight? It is not merely luck, nor the fleeting gifts of genetics. No, it is something far deeper. Something earned, something cultivated, something that comes from within. Today I will reveal to you the 7 hidden reasons why you look younger than your age. Not tricks, not illusions, but truths forged in the fire of discipline and the stillness of wisdom. Reason 1. You do not chase, you attract. The world is filled with those who chase. Chase after success, after youth, after love, after things that constantly slip just beyond their grasp. They run tirelessly, believing that happiness is always just one more step away, but in their endless pursuit they do not realize that the very act of chasing creates a resistance, a tension that wears them down, ages them prematurely, and fills them with anxiety. They wake up each day with a mind burdened by what they do not yet have, rather than appreciating what they already possess. This constant restlessness is written on their faces, in the way they carry themselves, in the way their eyes dart anxiously through the world. They do not understand that life is not meant to be forced into submission, that true beauty and peace are not found in grasping, but in allowing. The one who looks younger than their age is not the one who spends their life running after external things, but the one who remains still, centered, and deeply rooted in their own presence. When you stop chasing, the world comes to you, not because you demand it, but because you are in harmony with it. Those who chase after youth are the ones who lose it fastest. They fill their minds with worries about aging, about fading beauty, about the inevitable passing of time. But the fear of aging itself creates stress. And stress etches itself into the skin, into the posture, into the very aura of a person. The more one obsesses over maintaining a youthful appearance, the more they rob themselves of it. The irony is undeniable. When you cease to chase after youth, when you embrace the present moment fully, when you let go of the desperation to preserve something fleeting, you naturally embody the very thing you once sought. The ones who appear youthful beyond their years are not necessarily the ones who use the most expensive creams or undergo endless treatments. They are the ones who carry no tension in their bodies, no desperate clinging in their hearts. Their peace manifests in their skin, in their energy, in the way they walk into a room without the need for validation. Their presence is magnetic not because they strive for attention, but because they are unburdened by the need for it. This truth extends beyond appearance. It is reflected in the way one approaches life itself. Those who chase relationships, who cling to others in desperation, often find themselves left behind, struggling with disappointment. They do not understand that connection is not something that can be forced, that attraction is not something that can be demanded. The youthful spirit is found in those who radiate confidence, who do not need to grasp at love, because they understand that it will come naturally when the time is right. They do not waste their energy worrying about who will stay and who will leave, because their sense of worth is not dependent on external approval. The stress of chasing after affection, after acceptance, after someone else's validation, leaves marks not only on the soul but on the face, in the eyes, in the way one carries themselves. In contrast, those who are content within themselves, who do not chase but simply allow, are the ones who appear timeless. Their calmness is their beauty, their self-assurance, their strength. The same principle applies to success. Those who spend their lives in a frantic rush for achievement often burn themselves out long before they reach their true potential. They believe that success is something they must constantly pursue, that they must push and struggle and force their way forward. But the truth is that success flows to those who are ready for it, to those who have prepared themselves, not just externally, but internally. The most magnetic individuals, the ones who seem to hold on to their vitality despite the passage of time, are those who move with purpose rather than desperation. They do not spend their days comparing themselves to others, obsessing over timelines or fearing failure. Instead, they trust in their own abilities, in their own timing. This deep trust allows them to work without anxiety, to pursue their goals without being consumed by them. And because they do not let stress rule their lives, they do not carry its weight in their bodies. They move lightly, gracefully, untouched by the frantic energy that ages so many. To stop chasing does not mean to stop striving, to stop growing. It means to stop resisting the natural flow of life. It means understanding that everything you seek is drawn to you when you are in alignment with yourself. The river does not chase the ocean, it simply flows, and in doing so it reaches its destination effortlessly. Likewise, those who appear youthful beyond their years do not achieve this by force. They achieve it by being in harmony with who they are, by letting go of unnecessary struggles. They allow life to unfold, rather than attempting to control every aspect of it. They walk through the world with a sense of ease, a quiet confidence that does not beg for attention, yet naturally commands it. Their energy is different. It is calm, steady, and powerful in its serenity. This is the secret to lasting youth, not found in products or procedures, but in the simple act of letting go. Reason 2. You have mastered the art of letting go. There are many who carry the weight of their past wherever they go, as if their burdens were a part of their very being. They hold on to old wounds, past regrets, and bitter disappointments, as if clutching them tightly could somehow change what has already been written. But what they fail to realize is that this clinging does not alter the past. It only poisons the present. Every unresolved pain, every lingering resentment, carves itself into the body, into the mind, into the very essence of a person. The face hardens, the shoulders slump, the light in the eyes dims. The one who looks younger than their age is not the one who has never suffered, but the one who has learned to release suffering. They understand that life does not move backward, and so they do not either. They refuse to let the past dictate the present, for they know that clinging to what was only prevents them from embracing what is. To master the art of letting go is to master the art of peace. And peace, more than anything, is what keeps a person youthful. Letting go does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean pretending that pain never existed. It means accepting that what has happened cannot be undone, and that no amount of reliving it will ever change its outcome. Many hold on to past hurts because they believe it gives them power, that their pain is proof of their struggle, that their suffering somehow defines them. But this is an illusion. Suffering is not a badge of honor. It is a lesson to be learned and released. The youthful soul is not the one who has never been broken, but the one who has been broken and yet refuses to be defined by it. Every moment spent replaying old wounds, every second wasted on anger or regret, is a moment stolen from life itself. The one who has mastered letting go does not allow the past to steal their present. They do not age under the weight of things they can no longer change. Instead, they move forward with a lightness, a freedom, an unburdened spirit that reflects in their face, in their posture, in the way they exist in the world. Resentment is a slow poison, aging a person far more than time ever could. Those who refuse to forgive, who carry grudges like stones in their pockets, do not realize that they are only harming themselves. They allow anger to settle into their bones, to shape the lines on their faces, to steal the softness from their eyes. And yet, the one who forgives, not for others, but for themselves, remains untouched by this decay. They understand that forgiveness is not about condoning what was done, nor is it about forgetting the lessons learned. It is about refusing to let the actions of others hold power over them any longer. It is about reclaiming peace, about choosing to walk forward unchained. A person who does not let resentment fester within them carries a certain lightness, an energy that is untainted by bitterness. This lightness is what makes them appear younger, not just in the way they look, but in the way they live. The same principle applies to fear. Many live trapped in the shadows of their own anxieties, fearing the unknown, dreading what the future may bring. This fear etches itself into their expressions, into their movements, into the way they navigate life. They hold themselves back, restraining their joy, suppressing their dreams, playing small, because they are afraid of failure, of rejection, of loss. But the one who has learned to let go of fear walks differently. They understand that fear is an illusion, that it exists only in the mind, that it has no real power, except the power they give it. They do not resist life, nor do they resist change. They welcome what comes and do not fight what leaves. This openness, this willingness to flow with life rather than against it, keeps them from being worn down by stress, from being hardened by worry. There is a natural vibrancy in those who trust life, in those who are not shackled by their own doubts. It is this vibrancy that gives them an air of timelessness, an energy that cannot be replicated through artificial means. To let go is to understand that nothing is truly permanent. Everything changes, everything shifts, and the more one tries to hold on to things that are meant to pass, the more suffering they create for themselves. The youthful are not those who try to preserve everything exactly as it was, but those who embrace the ever-changing nature of existence. They do not fear endings because they know that endings are simply the beginning of something new. They do not resist the natural cycles of life, and because of this, they are not aged by them. There is a wisdom in knowing when to release, when to stop resisting, when to surrender to what is, and in that surrender, there is freedom. Freedom from regret, from resentment, from fear, and in freedom there is a kind of beauty that does not fade with time, a youthfulness that is not dependent on age, but on perspective. Those who have mastered the art of letting go do not chase youth, yet it lingers with them all the same. Reason 3. You keep your body strong, not for vanity, but for duty. The body is not an ornament to be admired, it is a vessel to be honored. Many chase after strength for shallow reasons, seeking admiration, validation, and external approval. But strength that is pursued for vanity alone is fleeting, for it is built upon insecurity. It is those who see their body as an instrument, not an accessory, who preserve its vitality for years beyond their youth. They do not train to impress, but to endure. They do not move to chase an image, but to fulfill a purpose. Their strength is not just in their muscles, but in their discipline, their resilience, their unwavering commitment to remaining capable. When the body is treated with respect, when it is strengthened not out of fear of aging, but out of a duty to life itself, it responds with endurance. It does not wither under the weight of time as easily as those who neglect it or abuse it. There is a difference between a body that is sculpted for display and a body that is maintained for function. The latter carries itself with an effortless grace, a quiet power that does not demand attention, but commands it nonetheless. True strength is not found in excess, in pushing the body to extremes for mere aesthetic gain. It is found in consistency, in the understanding that movement is not just an act of self-preservation, but an act of self-preservation. The one who looks younger than their age does not engage in frantic attempts to reverse time. They simply honor their body every day. They move because movement is life. They do not chase the latest fitness trends or punish themselves with exercise out of guilt. Instead, they integrate strength into their daily existence as a necessity, not a burden. They understand that a body in motion is a body that remains alive, not just in appearance but in spirit. They are not enslaved by the illusions of perfection, nor do they obsess over every detail of their physique. They trust that discipline will take care of what vanity cannot. They lift, stretch, walk, and breathe deeply, not to compete, but to remain ready for life, for challenges, for whatever may come. This quiet readiness is what keeps them timeless. The world is filled with those who take their bodies for granted, treating them either with neglect or with reckless indulgence. Some ignore the need for movement until it is too late, allowing stagnation to settle in, weakening their posture, their endurance, their very will. Others overburden themselves, chasing an impossible standard, believing that fitness is something to be won rather than something to be lived. But the one who looks younger than their years does not fall into either trap. They understand that the body is neither to be ignored nor to be worshipped. It is to be maintained as a duty, much like the sharpening of a blade or the tending of a fire. They do not let it decay, nor do they let it control them. Instead, they cultivate a quiet mastery over it, a deep understanding that strength is not for appearance alone, but for the ability to carry oneself through life with ease, with stability, with dignity. Their body is not a burden, nor is it a vanity project. It is simply the tool through which they move through the world, and they treat it accordingly. Reason 4. You laugh without fear. There are many who hold back their laughter, who suppress their joy as if it was something to be ashamed of. They have been taught that to be serious is to be respected, that to laugh too freely is to appear foolish or naive, and so they restrain themselves, keeping their emotions guarded, their expressions controlled. But this suppression comes at a cost. Laughter is not merely an indulgence, it is a release, a vital force that keeps the mind light and the body youthful. Those who are unafraid to laugh, who do not hesitate to express genuine joy, carry an energy that defies time. They do not tense their faces with self-consciousness, nor do they weigh down their souls with the burden of constant solemnity. They understand that laughter is not weakness, but strength. It is a refusal to let the heaviness of the world settle too deeply within them. They do not let their experiences harden them into cynicism. Instead, they allow humor to soften the edges of life's difficulties. This lightness is what keeps them young, not just in appearance, but in spirit. The ones who fear laughter the most are often the ones who have been hurt the deepest. They associate joy with vulnerability, with letting their guard down, and they believe that to protect themselves, they must remain composed, distant, unmoved. But this emotional armor does not shield them from aging, it accelerates it. Stress, worry, and constant tension take their toll, leaving behind furrowed brows, tight jaws, and an exhaustion that no amount of rest can erase. The ones who embrace laughter, who allow themselves to find humor even in the imperfections of life, do not carry this burden. Their faces remain open, their expressions unforced, their energy inviting rather than withdrawn. They are not controlled by fear of looking foolish or by the pressure to maintain a certain image. Instead, they exist freely, without hesitation, without shame, and in this freedom they remain youthful, not because they resist age, but because they do not allow life to weigh them down unnecessarily. Laughter is more than just an outward expression, it is a reflection of an inner state. Some people age prematurely not because of time, but because they have lost touch with their ability to experience joy. They take everything too seriously, seeing only responsibilities, only struggles, only reasons to worry. Their days are spent in a constant state of tension, their minds filled with concerns about things they cannot control. But those who laugh without fear have found a different way to live. They do not deny the reality of life's difficulties, nor do they ignore the weight of responsibility. Instead, they balance it with moments of lightness, with the understanding that humor is not an escape from life, but a way of moving through it with grace. They do not suppress their joy out of fear that it will make them appear immature. They do not allow the opinions of others to dictate their emotions. They laugh fully, freely, without hesitation. And because of this, they remain untouched by the invisible weight that ages so many before their time. Reason 5. You live with purpose, not in a race. Many spend their lives in a race they do not understand, chasing after things they have been told will bring them happiness. They run relentlessly, comparing their progress to others, measuring their worth by how much they have achieved, how far ahead they appear to be. But in their desperate pursuit, they forget to live. They do not pause to ask if the race they are running is even their own, if the goals they chase are truly theirs, or merely reflections of societal expectations. The weight of constant competition etches itself into their expressions. furrows their brows, stiffens their movement. They are always striving, never arriving, always reaching, never resting. The one who looks younger than their years is not the one who moves the fastest, but the one who moves with intention. They do not hurry for the sake of hurrying. They walk their path with clarity, with purpose. Their energy is not scattered in 1,000 directions, chasing what the world tells them they should want. Instead, they focus only on what truly matters to them, and in doing so, they preserve their spirit, their peace, their timelessness. Those who race through life often carry an invisible burden, a constant sense of pressure that never allows them to fully be present. Even in moments of rest, their minds are elsewhere, calculating their next move, worrying about falling behind. They attach their identity to their accomplishments, believing that their value is only as great as their latest success. But this mentality exhausts them, drains them, accelerates the aging process not just physically but emotionally. The one who lives with purpose, on the other hand, moves differently. They understand that life is not a checklist, not a series of milestones to be frantically reached before time runs out. They know that true fulfillment does not come from mindless striving, but from meaningful action. Because they are not constantly rushing, they do not carry unnecessary stress. Because they are not consumed by comparison, they do not waste energy on resentment. Their faces are not hardened by frustration, their bodies not weighed down by exhaustion. They move through life with a quiet certainty, a steady rhythm that does not falter under the pressure of external expectations. Purpose is not about speed, it is about alignment. Many believe that to live with purpose means to be endlessly busy, to always be working, always accomplishing. But the one who remains youthful understands that purpose is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters. They do not waste time chasing empty validation, nor do they fear slowing down when necessary. They trust in their own path, in their own pace. They do not rush to prove themselves, nor do they allow others to dictate the direction of their life. This inner certainty reflects outwardly. Their movements are unhurried yet decisive, their energy calm yet unwavering. There is no desperation in their eyes, no anxiety in their presence. They are not running towards something out of fear, nor are they running away from something out of insecurity. They are simply living, purposely, deliberately, with purpose. And in this way, they remain untouched by the frantic energy that ages so many before their time. Reason 6. You accept what comes, and you do not resist change. Many fight against life itself. Clinging to the illusion that they can control everything around them, they resist change, fearing that it will strip them of what they know, of what they are comfortable with. But in this resistance, they create suffering. They tense their bodies, tighten their expressions, and wear themselves down in a battle they cannot win. Time moves forward whether one accepts it or not, and those who refuse to embrace this truth are left exhausted, hardened by their own unwillingness to flow with life. The one who looks younger than their years does not fight against what is inevitable. They do not waste their energy trying to hold on to things that are meant to pass. They do not resist the natural cycles of life, of growth, of transformation. Instead, they adapt, they adjust. They welcome what comes with an open heart. There is a certain lightness in those who do not fight against reality, a grace that allows them to move through life without the weight of unnecessary struggle. This lightness is what keeps them youthful, not because they do not age, but because they do not let the passage of time become a burden upon them. Change is not an enemy, it is simply the nature of existence. Seasons shift. Rivers carve new paths. Even the mountains, seemingly eternal, are shaped by time. To resist change is to resist life itself, and nothing ages a person faster than a constant battle against the inevitable. The one who remains youthful understands this. They do not mourn the passing of what was, they embrace what is, and prepare for what will be. They do not cling to identities that no longer serve them, nor do they fear the unknown. while others desperately hold on to the past, fearing irrelevance, fearing loss, fearing time itself. They move forward with ease. This does not mean they are indifferent to what life takes away. It means they do not let loss define them. They find renewal in change, strength in adaptation. They remain fluid, flexible, willing to evolve, and because of this, they do not carry the stiffness of resistance. Their faces do not bear the hardened lines of regret. Their bodies do not carry the tension of constant fear. They move with time rather than against it, and in doing so they preserve not only their youth, but their peace. There are those who fear every wrinkle, every shift, every sign that life is moving forward. They see change as a threat, something to be fought, to be denied, to be reversed. But the truth is, youth is not about freezing time. It is about flowing with it. Those who resist aging often age the fastest, not because of time itself, but because of the stress they place upon themselves in their fight against it. They grip onto the past, longing for things to remain as they once were, and in that grasping, they create tension within themselves. But the one who looks younger than their years does not live in such fear. They do not resist the unfolding of life, nor do they try to control what cannot be controlled. They trust that each stage of life brings its own gifts, its own wisdom, its own beauty. They do not waste energy lamenting what has changed. They use that energy to embrace what is before them. This acceptance does not make them passive, it makes them powerful. They do not let fear of the future steal the joy of the present. They move forward without hesitation, without regret, and because of this, they carry a timelessness that no amount of resistance can manufacture. To accept what comes is not to surrender, it is to align oneself with the natural rhythm of life. The tree that bends in the storm does not break. It endures, it grows, it continues. Those who refuse to bend under the weight of change, who fight against it with all their might, are the ones who crack, who wither, who become rigid before their time. But those who allow themselves to flow, to shift, to embrace the impermanence of all things, remain strong in a different way. Their youth is not dependent on external appearances, on superficial attempts to freeze time. It is rooted in something deeper, the ability to move forward without fear, to welcome life as it comes, to release what is meant to go. They do not hold on to burdens that do not serve them, nor do they resist the natural course of things. They trust in their own ability to navigate change, and because of this they are not weighed down by unnecessary struggles. There is a quiet ease to them, a serenity that cannot be shaken by the passage of time, and in that serenity they find a vitality that does not fade. Reason 7. Your heart remains open. There are many who walk through life with their hearts closed, guarded by walls built from past wounds, disappointments, and fears. They believe that by shutting themselves off, they are protecting themselves from pain. But in truth, they are only cutting themselves off from life itself. A closed heart may seem safe, but it grows heavy with time. It carries resentment, bitterness, and a quiet loneliness that settles into the body, aging it long before its time. The one who looks younger than their years does not live this way. They do not harden themselves against the world, nor do they allow past hurts to dictate how they love, how they trust, how they connect. Their heart remains open, not because they are naive, but because they understand that to close it is to wither. They are not afraid to feel, not afraid to give, not afraid to receive. There is a lightness in them, a warmth, that keeps them from becoming rigid. This openness is not a weakness, it is a strength, a quiet defiance against the forces that seek to make people numb, indifferent, or afraid. And because their heart remains open, they carry an energy that is ageless. Many believe that to remain open is to invite pain, that to trust is to risk betrayal, that to love freely is to be foolish. And so they guard themselves, always calculating, always hesitant, always holding back. But this caution, this self-imposed distance, does not shield them from suffering, it only isolates them. It turns love into a transaction, connection into a risk to be managed. The one who remains youthful understands that true vitality does not come from avoiding pain, but from embracing life fully. They are willing to feel deeply, to experience the full range of emotions without fear. They do not let past betrayals make them cynical, nor do they let disappointments turn them cold. Their ability to trust, to connect, to care remains intact, and because of this their spirit stays light. They are not burdened by grudges, not weighed down by the bitterness that so often settles into those who have chosen to shut themselves off. They move through the world with an openness that draws others in, with a presence that feels refreshing, effortless, timeless. A heart that remains open does not mean a heart that is blind. Those who live with an open heart are not foolish. They do not ignore the realities of the world, nor do they allow themselves to be taken advantage of. But they understand that the greatest loss is not in being hurt, it is in becoming so afraid of being hurt that they stop truly living. They do not let the fear of pain rob them of the joys of connection, of love, of shared moments that give life meaning. They are not reckless with their trust, but they are not prisoners of their past wounds either. They know when to give, when to let go, when to walk away, and when to stay. They do not waste time closing themselves off in an attempt to control what cannot be controlled. Instead, they remain open to whatever life brings, knowing that every experience, even the painful ones, is part of the journey. This ability to stay open, to keep loving, to keep trusting, is what keeps them young, not just in appearance, but in essence. Time moves forward for everyone, but not everyone carries it the same way. Some grow heavier with each passing year, their hearts burdened with regrets, fears, and resentments. Others remain light, unburdened by what they cannot change, unafraid to embrace what is still to come. The difference is not in what they have experienced, but in how they have chosen to respond. The one who remains youthful does not resist life, does not withdraw in fear, does not let pain dictate their future. They continue to love, continue to trust, continue to give. They do not let the disappointments of yesterday steal the joy of today. They live with an openness that cannot be manufactured, an authenticity that cannot be faked. It is this openness, this willingness to feel, to connect, to embrace life fully, that sets them apart. And in this they find a vitality that does not fade with time, it only deepens, becoming something rare, something lasting, something truly ageless. Looking younger is not about mere appearance. It is about how you carry time rather than letting it carry you. It is about how you live, how you think, how you feel. The secret was never in the mirror. It was in you all along. So walk forward unshaken. Let time do as it will. It has no power over those who have mastered themselves. May God bless you. Thank you.